SKOL Vikings. What's good, purple and gold nation? Buckle up, because we're diving into some juicy Vikings draft rumors that could shake up our 2025 season. The NFL draft is just days away, and whispers are swirling about the Vikings potentially trading down from their number 24 pick. With only 4 draft picks in their pocket, our squad is desperate to stack more assets. But here's the kicker. Trading down in this draft might be tougher than stopping Patrick Mahomes on a 2-minute drill. Are Kwesi Adofo-Mensah and the front office about to pull off a masterclass move? Or are we stuck in a draft day bind? Let's break it down Vikings style. General Manager Kwesi Adofo-Mensah is playing 4D chess with limited pieces. The Vikings roster is one of the oldest in the NFL, and with just 4 picks, tied for the fewest in the league, they need to get younger and deeper. Trading down could mean snagging extra picks in rounds 3 to 6, where this draft is loaded with talent at positions like safety, corner, and offensive line. But SKOL North's Darren Wolfson dropped a reality check. This draft lacks elite, can't-miss prospects, making teams hesitant to trade up. So what's the vibe, fam? Do you think Kwesi can work some draft day magic? Or are we overhyping our trade-down dreams? Here's where it gets spicy. ESPN's Matt Miller tossed out 2 potential trade partners that have every Vikings fan buzzing. The Cleveland Browns and Kansas City Chiefs are reportedly sniffing around, and a deal with either could reshape our draft haul. Stick with me as we unpack these rumors, dig into the strategy, and figure out if the Vikings can turn 4 picks into a draft class that sets us up for a Super Bowl run. Drop a comment below. Would you trade down for more picks, or stay put and grab a stud at 24? Let's dive into the first rumor and see what's cooking in Cleveland. Picture this. The Browns, sitting pretty at number 2 overall, are desperate for a game-changer. Matt Miller floated a wild idea. A trade where the Vikings slide back from number 24 to number 94 in exchange for a deal with Cleveland. Now, hold up. That sounds like a steal for the Browns, right? Giving up our first-rounder for just a 3rd-round pick feels like trading Justin Jefferson for a bag of footballs. The Browns might be eyeing a quarterback like Jackson Dart or even Shedeur Sanders if he slides. But why would Kwesi settle for such a low return? This rumor has me scratching my head, Vikings fans. Let's talk numbers. The Vikings traded away a 2nd, 3rd, and 4th-round pick last year to maneuver in the 2024 draft, landing J.J. McCarthy. That boldness paid off, but it left us pick-starved in 2025. A trade with Cleveland could net us more picks, but number 94 alone doesn't cut it. Yahoo Sports mocked a scenario where the Vikings trade down with the Browns and grab a corner like Jordan Hancock later in the draft. That's tempting, especially with Cameron Bynum gone and Harrison Smith maybe in his final year. But is a 3rd-rounder enough to fix our secondary? What do you think, SKOL Nation? Is this trade a bust or a hidden gem? Here's the suspense. If the Browns want to leapfrog teams hunting quarterbacks, they'd need to sweeten the pot. Maybe toss in a 2026 pick or another mid-rounder. The Vikings front office is known for bold moves, but Kwesi's got to weigh taking the best player available, like a stud safety, against stacking picks for depth. This Cleveland rumor is heating up, but it's not the only one. Up next, we're heading to Kansas City, where the Chiefs are plotting something big. Stay locked in, fam. Now, let's jet to Kansas City, where the Chiefs are cooking up a draft day blockbuster. Matt Miller's second tidbit has the defending champs eyeing a trade-up from number 31 to snag an offensive lineman to protect Patrick Mahomes. The Vikings, sitting at number 24, could be their perfect partner. Imagine this. We slide back a few spots, grab an extra pick or 2, and still land a starter in a draft deep with talent. The Chiefs are hungry for a left tackle like Kelvin Banks Jr., and a trade with us could be a win-win. SKOL vibes are high on this one. Why would the Chiefs make this move? Their offensive line took hits in free agency, and Mahomes needs protection to keep slinging dimes. The Vikings, meanwhile, could drop to 31 and still target a corner or safety, positions where this draft is stacked. According to The Athletic, a trade with Kansas City might net us a 4th or 5th-rounder, giving us ammo to attack day 3. Last year, the Chiefs traded up for Xavier Worthy, so GM Brett Veach isn't afraid to deal. But here's the question. Do we trust Kwesi to nail those extra picks? Or is staying at 24 safer? Hit the comments with your take. The plot thickens because the Chiefs aren't the only team circling. The Houston Texans at number 25 could also want that lineman, meaning the Vikings might miss out if they slide too far. Trading down is a gamble, but with only 4 picks, we need to play the board like a Vegas pro. This Chiefs rumor has me pumped, but there's a catch. What if we miss the top defensive backs? Let's keep rolling and dig into why trading down is so tricky this year. You feeling this trade vibe, or are you nervous? Let's go. Alright, let's get real. Trading down in 2025 is like trying to find a parking spot at US Bank Stadium on game day. SKOL North's Darren Wolfson warned that this draft's lack of elite talent makes teams reluctant to trade up. Unlike 2024, where quarterbacks flew off the board, this year's class is thin at the top. Kwesi Adofo-Mensah himself said it's about balancing the best player available with the value of extra picks. So, why is everyone saying the Vikings are prime trade-down candidates? Let's unpack this puzzle. SKOL fam. The Vikings situation is dire. 4 picks, an aging roster, and needs at safety, corner, and offensive line. ESPN reported that Minnesota's draft capital is the lowest in the NFL, per over the cap's value chart. Trading down could mean grabbing a guy like Ohio State's Jordan Hancock in the 3rd round while adding a 5th-rounder for depth. But here's the rub. Teams like the Browns or Chiefs might lowball us, knowing we're desperate. Vikings Wire suggested we could gain the equivalent of a late 4th-rounder in value, decent but not game-changing. What's your gut telling you? Go for quantity or quality? Suspense is building because Kwesi's track record is bold but risky. He traded picks last year to secure McCarthy, and now we're paying the price. The fan base is split. Some want a star at 24, others want a haul of role players. Posts from fans like @Tperkel are screaming for a trade down to stockpile picks in rounds 3 to 6, where this draft shines. But can we trust other teams to play ball? Let's pivot to what the Vikings might target if they trade down. Get ready for some draft board secrets, and don't forget to smash that like button. If the Vikings trade down, what's the plan? Safety is screaming for attention with Cameron Bynum gone and Harrison Smith, at 36, possibly in his final season. Sports Illustrated highlighted safety as a top need, and this draft is stacked with day 2 and 3 gems. Imagine landing a ball hawk like Penn State's Kevin Winston or Georgia's Malachi Starks with a traded-down pick. These guys could lock down our secondary for years, but only if Kwesi plays his cards right. Who's your dream defensive back, SKOL Nation? Let's talk strategy. Trading down could let us double-dip in the 3rd round, grabbing a safety and a corner like Ohio State's Jordan Hancock. Yahoo Sports mocked Hancock to the Vikings at number 97, praising his versatility. With an extra pick from the Chiefs or Browns, we could also snag an offensive lineman like Minnesota's Arianti Urzuri in the 4th. The Vikings' defense ranked 14th in pass yards allowed last year, so bolstering the secondary is critical. But here's the hook. What if we miss the top safeties by trading too far back? Drop your predictions in the comments. The stakes are high, and the clock is ticking. Kwesi's got to weigh the risk of losing a blue-chip player against the reward of depth. Fans on X, like @fantasy_swan, are hyping a trade down to dominate day 3, but others worry we'll get fleeced. The next segment dives into why the Browns might be our best bet, or our biggest trap. Stay tuned, because this draft rumor roller coaster is just heating up. You hyped for draft day, or stressing already? Let's keep it rolling. Back to Cleveland. Could the Browns be our golden ticket or a draft day disaster? The Browns have a boatload of picks, including number 2, number 33, and number 94 from the Amari Cooper trade. Matt Miller's trade idea of sliding to 94 feels light, but what if they throw in a 2026 pick? Cleveland's eyeing a quarterback or a star like Travis Hunter, per CBSSports.com, and they might need to jump ahead of teams like the Giants. A deal with us could make sense, but Kwesi's got to demand more than a 3rd-rounder. What's the vibe, Vikings fans? Here's the deal. The Browns' roster is a mess, and they're desperate to reset. Trading up for a quarterback like Jackson Dart could be their play, especially if Cam Ward goes number 1 to Tennessee. The Athletic noted Cleveland's interest in QBs, with Joe Flacco mentoring a rookie. If we trade down, we could stockpile picks and still grab a starter like TCU's Savion Williams, who brings Cordarrelle Patterson-like versatility. But the risk? We lose a shot at a first-round talent. Would you pull the trigger on this trade? Or hold firm at 24? The suspense is killing me. If Kwesi swings a deal with Cleveland, it could reshape our draft class, or haunt us if we miss a stud. Posts from @fullpress_digest are hyping the Vikings as trade-down kings. But fans are nervous about getting shortchanged. Let's flip to the Chiefs side again and see if their offensive line obsession could unlock a better deal. Keep those comments coming, SKOL Nation, because we're about to get deeper into this draft drama. The Chiefs trade rumor is back, and it's got my SKOL heart racing. Kansas City's GM Brett Veach has a history of bold moves, like trading up for Trent McDuffie in 2022. The U.S. Sun reported that Andy Reid might target Texas' Kelvin Banks Jr. at number 24 to shore up their line. If the Vikings slide to 31, we could snag an extra fourth-rounder and still draft a starter like Kansas' Kobe Bryant at corner. This feels like a smoother deal than the Browns' offer, but is it too good to be true? What's your call, fam? Let's break it down. The Chiefs need help at tackle, running back, and safety per clutch points. A trade-up makes sense, but they'll want to leapfrog Houston at number 25. The Vikings, with only 4 picks, could use that extra fourth-rounder to grab a developmental player like Minnesota's Ja Joyner, a 6'4" pass rusher. Our offensive line allowed 43 sacks last season, so depth there wouldn't hurt either. But here's the catch. If we drop too far, we might miss the top corners and safeties. Trade or stay put? Hit the comments. The draft board is a chess game, and Kwesi's got to outsmart Veach. Fans like its Seifert ESPN are calling our 4-pick situation a crisis, but a Chiefs trade could ease the pain. The next segment pulls it all together, why trading down might be our only shot at a deep draft class. We're nearing the end, SKOL Nation, so stay locked in. You feeling bullish on a Chiefs deal? Or is Cleveland the better play? Let's wrap this up with a bang. So why are the Vikings so desperate to trade down? It's simple. 4 picks won't cut it for a team with holes at safety, corner, and offensive line. ESPN's Kevin Seifert nailed it. The Vikings are the NFL's oldest team, and our $315 million payroll is maxed out. Trading down could turn 4 picks into 6 or 7, letting us attack this draft's depth in rounds 3 to 6. Think players like Eastern Washington's Efton Chisholm III, a dynamic receiver, or Fresno State's Dean Clark, a safety with range. Who's your draft crush, Vikings fans? The strategy is clear but risky. Vikings Wire noted that a trade with the Chiefs or Browns could net us a pick worth a late 4th-rounder, per over the cap. That's enough to grab a rotational player or a special teams ace. But Kwesi's past trades, giving up a 3rd-rounder for McCarthy, have fans on edge. Posts from @Vikings Fanpage show the fanbase begging for more picks, but some worry we'll miss a star like Georgia's Benjamin Urosek. Trade down or stand pat? Your vote matters. SKOL Nation. Here's the climax. The NFL draft starts April 24th, and every move Kwesi makes will shape our future. Trading down could give us the depth to compete with the Lions and Packers, but a bad deal could set us back. The Browns and Chiefs are our best shots, but nothing's guaranteed. Let's wrap this up with what it all means for our Super Bowl dreams. Smash that like button, drop your trade predictions, and let's keep the SKOL fire burning. Alright, Vikings fam, it's crunch time. The 2025 NFL Draft is our chance to reload, and trading down could be the spark we need or a gamble that flops. If Kwesi pulls off a deal with the Browns or Chiefs, we could turn 4 picks into a draft class that reloads our defense and adds depth. Picture a secondary with Jordan Hancock and Dean Clark, or an offensive line bolstered by a day 3 steal. But if we stay at 24, we might land a game-changer like Malachi Starks. What's your final call, SKOL Nation? Trade down or hold the line? Let's dream big. A successful trade down could mean 6 picks, addressing safety, corner, and line while keeping J.J. McCarthy's offense humming. CBSSports.com mocked us grabbing a versatile player like Savion Williams, and that's the kind of depth that wins in January. But the draft is a crapshoot, and Kwesi's got to nail every pick. Vikings fans on X are hyped but nervous. with @Quicket_NFL calling us the ultimate trade-down candidates. Are you ready for draft day or sweating the possibilities? Drop it in the comments. SKOL Vikings, we're in this together. Hit that like button if you're pumped for the draft. Subscribe for more Vikings news, and share this video with every purple and gold fan you know. Let's flood the comments with your trade ideas, draft crushes, and SKOL chants. The 2025 season starts with this draft, and we're building a squad to hoist that Lombardi trophy. Stay loud, stay proud, and let's go Vikings. SKOL.